Let me pop it up for you, okay? This is where it is. This is the full, 9301 frame. Here's the sectional. Now we'll bring it up, okay? You're seeing an incredible amount of 3D geometric constructional structure. This is unequivocally, unquestionably, architectural beams and girders and buttresses and supports, all being in a place it has no business being, arching over supposedly airless moon. I'm afraid to ask the next question. Is Bara here? Oh, good. God, somebody's still out there. Bara, as someone who designs things that fly, which has to be strong and light, what was your impression the first time you saw these pictures?
Well, I think that what's crucial about it is that what separated it for me from Scratches is that everything is about the right proportion you would expect of action.
Do you want to get up here on Mike?
Yeah.
Since this is an important part. See, I didn't have the benefit of Mike's aerospace engineering expertise in Washington, so I want him on the record. We're going to do a much more extensive interview for the film. Yeah, I want you on the record, right? There's a, thanks a lot. Right? I don't know, pick a mic. Michael, we need a hot mic up here. They will. They.
Should I just get
Just yell.
Just get really close to you here?
Okay, yeah. Stand over on this side, all right?
Okay, well,
This side. Speak into mine, shuttle.
you guys remember that 1970s movie, The Two-Headed Transplant, with Rosie Greer and Ray Milland, and they were like, they walked around like this.
Can you kind of walk around? Don't fall off.
Let me just yell. Okay, so what I see when I look at this is, can you give me the pointer a second?
Yeah, sure.
This is all correctly proportioned to be structure. What you look for in any sort of structural design is, cross members that support, that give mutual support. You've got stuff coming in here. They're all spaced just about right to be exactly what you would look for in structural design. You've got vertical beams, you've got horizontal beams, you've got stuff coming in at angles, and you've basically got proper proportion for structural design. So that's what I saw when I looked at that. See, you got this here, you got this guy's coming up here, there's one coming along this way, there's another one coming there, and they're probably attaching there at some point that we can't see, and this basically is all structure, okay? And it's not, it's not part of the film emulsion or anything because some of it's at an angle.
Now, why can't it be scratches?
It can't be scratches for a variety of reasons. One of them is that basically this stuff is aligned with the local vertical curvature of the lunar surface as opposed to the film. Now, the scratches,
in other words,
it knows where it is.
it knows where down is.
Exactly.
It shouldn't.
I'm
Okay, all right. That was it.
Also, the actor would be lack of scratch.
Yeah, if this was scratches, given that this is a reversal film, I'm not gonna. Okay, all right. It would not show up as light against dark. It would show up as black because it's a reversal. You in the dark room literally reverse light and dark, dark to light, so it would be black. So we look here. Here's one of my favorites. These are buttresses. Look at the angles. If you're building Chartres Cathedral, the reason that the Templars, when they built the cathedrals, put flying buttresses is because if they built them straight up and down, and they built them higher and higher and higher, gravity would make them bow out and they would collapse. So they built buttresses at an angle to counteract the sideways forces of gravity on Earth. The same thing here. These are angled buttresses designed to counteract the lateral spread of these miles-high structures when they were new. And you can see them glistening. You can see the glass steps. You can see the intricate, subtle and sub-structural detail. And I looked at this on this print, carefully preserved for all these years by this man. And I said, look at what they've done to us. Look at how they have lied to us all. And if it weren't for this guy, they would have gotten away with it. I mean, history sometimes comes down to one courageous human being. We all can, the lesson here is we all can make a difference. And what is amazing to me is that when Ken was brought into Duke's office, Michael Duke's office, and said to destroy all of it, and he asked the question, well, why? They never gave him an answer. The lie is different at every level. It was, we're running this place, you're an employee, you're in charge of this archive, we're telling you get rid of it all except for one set which will go in the freezer, in essence, in the vault, and don't ask any more questions. And he was supposed to, as an automaton, as a NASA employee, not really working for a subcontractor, as a private contractor employee, kind of like a Blackwater guy, just follow orders. And he was just a couple, 3 years older than I was when I worked for Cronkite. When I worked for Cronkite as an advisor, I was 23. Ken would have been, I think, 28 when he had this incredibly responsible position. And something in that milieu made him stop and say, no, this is wrong. I can't destroy this. Imagine if history had been different and he'd simply followed orders. So years later, I'm going back and I'm kind of reiterating as we're doing the book, this whole story and getting the details straight and the time sequence and finding the documentation, and thank God Ken is a pack rat. I mean, they never obviously expected him to have saved all of these letters, all of this testimony, all of this documentation. They're fried because we've got the goods on them. He is who he says he is, no question. So they got a real problem. Or, David, what was that great line that you used in the summary we did yesterday? Putin on NASA? You'll think.
Putin NASA in its place.
Yes, Putin NASA in his... David can come up with them. Anyway, so I started looking at this whole idea of the helmets. And, of course, soon discovered that it was another NASA lie. This is a part of the panorama of which this frame sits right here. See Mitchell there putting up the, TV camera under the domes right there? Okay. Now this is part of the panorama that Mitchell, that Shepard took of Mitchell, showing, from the LEM to the north. And as you step around, you can see something very interesting. This is to the west. This is Shepard's shadow. All right, so the sun is directly behind you. The sun is to the east, of course, rising at about 10 degrees. This is now to the north. Notice the interesting linear features. There appear to be cables stretching through this dome, kind of like a circus tent where certain things are supported from below and others supported from above. There's substructures in here. There's more looking on the other side. This is looking south now. And then this finally is looking west again. And when you put it all together, what I found, this is an actual 8x10 print, which Ken had. Unfortunately, we don't have all the individual frames making up the print. The only frame that we had in full resolution was 9301. But what's interesting is that all this blue stuff is scattering light. It's the ruins of the glass, and it knows where the sun is. In other words, the brightest scattering is down sun. It's opposite the sun. The sun is behind you, it's in front of you, and it's back scattering just like a movie screen or the atmosphere, an atmosphere. It's behaving optically just like a real medium. It knows where the sun is, and therefore it cannot be anything dumb and stupid like the wrong chemistry bath in the laboratory or a problem with the transfer from the original film to the color print and stuff like that, because it's dimmest to the sides